Previously on Celebok.
I got my first dose and already got the appointment set for my second dose in a few weeks. How did this happen so fast? My wife is an ISTJ, that's how. Yeah, pretty sure if I was still single, I would have just waited who knows how long to get the vaccine. That would actually be a rather interesting, what if type of thought experiment. How my life would have been different over the next several weeks if I had not gotten the vaccine. Oh yeah. I never did give a COVID vaccine update, did I? My last video was, the day I got my first vaccine dose back in mid-April. I got my second dose a few weeks later, and I was fully vaccinated as of a week before Memorial Day. Oh yeah, so I guess what I was gonna do was kind of do this sort of what if scenario, because it was basically because of my ISTJ wife that I got the vaccine when I did. If you watched my 1 year later video, I was basically saying I wasn't really planning to rush out and get the vaccine. I wasn't really in a rush to be around people again. And my wife kind of surprised me by signing us both up for our vaccine appointments. And I'm glad it worked out. I wasn't against getting vaccinated or anything. I just didn't see the need to rush out and get it. I was just happy to let everybody else get vaccinated first, basically. And then I would eventually get around to getting mine, just like how I eventually get around to getting the flu vaccine every year. Now the thing is, I actually did figure out when I would have gotten the vaccine on my own. If my ISTJ wife hadn't signed us both up, at first I was about to say, what if I was single? But that would have opened up this whole other set of parallel universe butterfly effect changes that had nothing to do with the vaccine or the pandemic. So for the sake of this speculation, I'm just going to say, in this alternate scenario, my ISTJ wife signed up for the vaccine for herself, but decided to let me make my own appointment. Now, like I said, in real life, I was fully vaccinated. 2 weeks after my second dose, I was fully vaccinated a week before Memorial Day. Now, that same week was when stores and restaurants and other businesses started posting signs saying people who are unvaccinated are encouraged to wear masks. And, of course, nobody ever checks. Nobody asks for proof of vaccination. They're just kind of, they're letting everyone be on the honor system, which means unvaccinated people could still walk in without masks and no one would ever know. Now, up until then, I had really no problem walking into a grocery store or a restaurant just to pick up takeout food. I wasn't really concerned about whether I was exposing myself to the virus, because I knew that these places were requiring everyone to wear masks, and for the most part, the places that I went to, people were wearing masks. People were complying with the mask mandate. Everyone was wearing masks, so I figured, well, there's very little chance that if I walk into this place that I'm exposing myself to the virus. Well, that all changed as soon as the mask restrictions were lifted, and so I knew that pretty soon people would stop wearing masks in the places where I go, and for all I know, some of them might not be vaccinated, which means there's a little bit more of a chance that some of those people could unknowingly be spreading the virus, which is exactly how the pandemic started in the first place. So, in the alternate timeline in which I wasn't vaccinated, that would have been my motivation. That and the fact that by then it seemed like more people that I personally knew had already been fully vaccinated than not. So, that week, the week before Memorial Day weekend, that's when I would have said, okay, you know what, it's probably time for me to get the vaccine. And by then, there were no longer those long waiting lists like there were at the time that my wife and I signed up for ours in real life. So I'm thinking I probably would have actually gone in to get my first dose a week later, a week after that point. So in other words, like the week after Memorial Day, we're talking about like the first week of June, and then I would have got my second dose 3 weeks later. So that's like the second to last week of June, and then I would have considered I would have been considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after that, and by this point it's like a few days after July 4th. I actually took advantage of the fact that I was fully vaccinated. Um, my church started having regular in-person services at the beginning of May, and I've actually been helping out with the media aspect. I'm helping out with the sound and video, which means being physically in the church building while other people are there. Now that's not that big a deal because for a while they were still asking people to wear masks during church service, and pretty much everyone complied with that. So I think I still would have stepped up and helped out with the media team, even if I wasn't fully vaccinated. I probably would have had to convince my ISTJ 9-wing 1 wife that it was safe for me to do so. You know, of course, she's already fully vaccinated, even in this alternate timeline, so she wouldn't have to worry about herself. The next major thing that happened in real life was that we actually went on 2 road trips, one over Memorial Day weekend and one over July 4th weekend. Again, we took advantage of the fact that we were both fully vaccinated. We went inside restaurants and actually ate inside. That was actually the first time either of us had done that. Now, would we have still gone on those trips? I think we probably would have. I think, because, we did 2 similar road trips last year before the vaccine even existed. And, we were just really careful, wore our masks everywhere, ordered takeout. A lot of restaurants weren't even open yet. But, we would order takeout, eat meals either in the motel or in our car. So, it would have been a similar situation on these, assuming we had decided to do these road trips again, we would have just taken extra safety precautions. Those are the things that would have been different, but I think in the long run it wouldn't have made a huge difference. We all lived through this whole pandemic for over a year, so, what's another 6 weeks? And then once I did become fully vaccinated in the alternate timeline, my life would have been exactly the same as it is in real life. This is exactly the reason why I wasn't in a huge rush to get the vaccine. Overall, it didn't really make a huge difference in my life. For other people, I know it is a big deal. The people who regularly interact with a lot of people or want to interact with a lot of people, extroverts, people with big families that they haven't been able to see, or whatever things that they haven't been able to do until getting vaccinated. Not to mention all the immunocompromised people, but that's why they got first dibs at the vaccine in the first place. Whatever. Either way, I'm still glad I got it. At least now I'm included in the statistic of the fully vaccinated population for those who care about that. Like I've said, even though I haven't really been that adversely affected by this whole pandemic, I'm still looking forward to putting this all behind us. I got to see a movie in a movie theater for the first time in 18 and a half months, just last weekend. I've heard that Canada is finally deciding to open their borders to non-essential traveling Americans, so, looking forward to finally getting to visit Canada again. And just whatever other little things that I've had to put off for a year and a half. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about that for now. I knew that pretty soon people would stop wearing masks and the people in the place